Hello and welcome to another episode of SoFly. It's a beautiful, beautiful time of year here in Ontario because it's August. And August is one of my favorite months because it's not as hot as the rest of the summer and there's less bugs. My name is Mitch, and of course, we've got Aldo.
Hi, everybody.
And
Yeah.
we've got. Are you going to say?
I was just going to talk about how I also like August.
I also love September and October and November too.
What month do you hate?
Probably like March.
Yeah, fuck March, man.
March is ruthless here. Like, it's terrible. You can't do shit. It's not cold enough to do any ice fishing, really.
Smells like shit.
Yeah, everything's melting. Or maybe there's no snow at all and it's just dreary, like extended fall, but without the promise of upcoming Christmas festivities.
And the days are still short too.
Yeah, it sucks. It's the worst month. That's the month where I'm like, the last few years, barely holding on.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. You know. But then sometimes we go away.
Well, that's the thing is like it's definitely become for us, well, for me specifically,
Little snowbirdie.
a little transitioning into my snowbird years. So,
Well, let's go somewhere together next March.
I thought we were going to Belize, brother.
Yeah, it's like February though, isn't it?
Okay, well, where do we want to go in March?
I guess that's like close enough.
See
I
you,
don't know.
Chugs.
Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode here. We've got one for you. Today we're talking about not Miami, but pretty much the complete opposite side of the United States of America, because we're talking about Alaska and a trip that a couple of friends of ours, Amber Toner and Susan Gesner. I pronounced her name right. Gesner, right? Yeah, she said I did.
I used to think pronounce it
Gesner.
Gesner.
Gesner, yeah, like I don't know. But Amber and Susan went to Alaska to a really, really, really beautiful lodge up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked to them about that. But before we get into that interview with those wonderful people, why don't we talk a little bit about what's going on in our world?
Yes. Well, if you're listening to this, the second it comes out, it's August 1st, 2024. I'm going to crack things off with our buddy Mario at Taco Fly. That's why I'm wearing this hat. He just released 5 episodes called the Taco Tour, and I watched them. I binged them actually, and they're like 5 to 7 minute little episodes that Mario and Reddington did together. Actually,
he's driving around in that sweet car.
Oh my god, the '64 Impala,
so nice.
Paula the Impala.
It's such a sick car.
Super creative. Paula the Impala, but yeah, he was driving around, essentially, I think just Montana and Idaho.
Just.
Oh no, I just mean like I was trying to remember if he.
No. Kind of sounds like you're not a big fan of Montana and Idaho.
No, March in Montana, hate them both. March in Montana, worst thing I could possibly dream of.
Yeah, that would not be good.
But yeah, no, it was just a super fun. He was, as a former taco salesman myself,
right.
It very resonated. The content really resonated with me, but it was cool. And there's one episode where he's in Dillon, Montana. They're just catching the craziest fish.
I know. Montana's so dumb. It's crazy.
There's a surprising amount of tacos as well in Montana.
Huh. They're there's tacos all over, right? Like everybody loves a good taco.
Yep.
But yeah, check that out. It's pretty cool.
And he went back on the Missouri.
Oh, God. I haven't watched that one yet. I need to watch that.
With the same people we went with, Headhunters.
I've been thinking so much about Missouri, the Missouri River, Montana. Like, so rad. Like, so we're catching lots of bass here in Ontario because it's summertime and it's bass o'clock. God, I just want to catch some trout though. Like really go to like a place like the Missouri where it's hard not to catch a trout. You know what I mean? Just like big beefers everywhere.
I'm telling you, man, we got to go to Delaware. Like the Delaware stays cold pretty much all year, and like.
Well, we're thinking of doing that, right?
Yeah.
We just have to finalize those those plans.
Yeah, we can just make that really quick little weekend plan.
It's not hard to
obviously
get
there, up here in August, our trout rivers are far too hot to be.
Yeah, it temps have been cool, but still,
trouting around, Yeah, there's something about like fishing, and then you got to get off the, especially we have to drive like an hour or whatever. Like when I
Yeah.
got, it's like you got to get off the water at 10, and you're like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'd rather just go bass fishing and spend the whole day on the water.
Yeah, it's been super fun. But anyway.
Yeah. So that's what. Yeah,
Yeah,
taco
check out the
tour.
taco tour.
Taco tour, which is cool. There's really not much going
Really
on
cool
in
videos.
terms of Ontario events. Not too much, as of course everyone's fishing and cottaging and doing their thing. I will say though, there's going to be there's an event happening on the Grand River on August 14th.
Okay.
That a few of our listeners have reached out to. It's going to benefit the Friends of the Grand River. But
What
it's
is this
just
event?
basically a meetup. It's a meetup at Grand River.
Who's putting it on?
I think the Fly Shop in Fergus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, but it's a community based event, which is of course something that we always love.
CBE.
Highland Park on August 17th, 9:30 to 2:30.
Okay, there you go. Check it out.
There's product demos, casting lessons, kids fly tying. That's fun.
Oh, cool.
And a casting contest, and there's going to be a barbecue courtesy of the Optimist Club.
Optimus.
Optimist.
Don't want to miss a barbecue from the Optimus crew.
It's just a giant robot making you burgers. But yeah, we've had a few of our listeners reach out and talk to us, ask us to shout that out. So of course,
there you go.
Dean from the Isaac Walton, let me know.
Oh, sick.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, okay, rad.
So they're going to be there, which is cool.
Dean.
It looks like the Brant Fly Tires and Fly Fishers are going to be there. Hamilton area Fly Fishers and Tires.
Wow,
that's awesome.
There you go. Check it out if you're in the area.
Yeah, there's going to be prizes, and yeah, like I said, the raffle, any money raised is going to the Friends of the Grand River and some other local charities like the Fergus Humane Society.
We haven't been to Ottawa this summer. We should go fish in Ottawa.
Okay.
What's the Ottawa Fly Fisher Society up to?
Oh, good segue, brother. If you just head over to ottawaflyfishers.ca, I don't think they've posted their August events yet. But I know they have meetups all the time. So just follow them on Instagram and go to ottawaflyfishers.ca.
Ottawa. We didn't do the Mississippi float. Yeah,
there's still time, buddy.
But also Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. We can bring the boat to Pennsylvania.
Anyways, Ottawa Fly Fisher Society. Check them out. Instagram.
ottawaflyfishers.ca. Yeah, and then September 14th, Ontario Streams is doing a volunteer day. So if you go to Ontario Streams, you can and go to the volunteer section on their website. You can read all about it. We can put this in the show notes, but that's really what's going on. There's the 17th on the Grand. There's the 14th of September for the Ottawa Streams, and then Drift Outfitters has a few educational days, including a group spay class. So getting, it's bass season, but Steelhead's around the corner.
Yeah.
So
it goes too fast.
I know it goes too fast. And also fall salmon if you're doing if you're heading out east, the fall season out, especially in Nova Scotia, and September in the Gaspé can be really awesome because you got those fired up bucks that are all changing color and getting their kipes, and that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty sick.
Last year I drove out to Cape Breton, and that was a really great time. Although I didn't catch a fish, Kate, of course.
That was like September, October.
That was October, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to be in the water, and Cape Breton is also where I met our guest Susan.
Yeah, she's the best. You guys are gonna love listening to Susan. She's a very nice lady, and also just has so many cool adventures. And I feel like we barely scratch the surface with what Susan gets up to because she's a very humble person, which I love. But
I feel like we should have her. Oh, sorry.
No, because I think humble people, there's so much more to them, like Susan. But we got to have her on again, or really get into some of the things she does, because she's a very unique, interesting person.
She spent a career in conservation and biology.
Yeah, like
and
that's
has spent 30 years fly fishing.
we
She lives
barely
on the
even,
Credit
like,
River here in
even in our
Ontario.
conversation we didn't really touch on the fact that she's spent a career in biology conservation. Like, anyways, she's very cool. You guys are gonna
Well,
love
maybe
the
when
interview.
she's back in the province, we can go to her property on the Credit and do a
That'd be
show from
fun.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going Atlantic salmon fishing this fall.
What?
Yeah.
Just drops it on me. Okay, well maybe let's talk about that in the outro.
All right. We'll talk about that in a bit. Well, here's the chat about Lodge in Alaska. The Lodge of 58. The name always trips me up because it's kind of
Lodge at 58.
north. The Lodge at 58 north. Anyway, this is the chat with Amber and Susan. Here it is. Amber Toner is a fly angler and outdoors / conservation photographer hailing from the stunning landscapes of Calgary, Alberta. Growing up in the Sheep River Valley, she developed a deep-rooted love for nature and fly fishing. She's a dedicated conservationist, advocating for the preservation of Alberta's native trout and their East Slope Rocky Mountain watersheds. When not behind the lens or casting a line, she can often be found exploring the wilderness with her wild-spirited son or her rambunctious pup, Zeddy. Susan Gesner is a fly angler and environmental consultant working to help people learn more about the natural world so they can make wise decisions on how to keep it safe, sustainable, and healthy. Over the last 30 years or so, she's had help from people like Ken Collins, Steve Hahn, Mitchell Roberts, and just recently Sophia Newton and Gabe Cunningham at the Lodge at 58 North. All these anglers have helped shape Susan's angling style while fueling her love for fishing. She can usually be found in Ontario in pursuit of brook trout, but spends as much time as possible at her fish camp on the beautiful Margaree River in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. But today, both Amber and Susan are on SoFly to discuss a recent trip to Alaska. Hello to you both. Susan, I hope I said your last name properly.
You did. It was awesome. Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah, amazing. God. Yeah, hell of an intro, but you're both very accomplished people, and we're really excited that you're on the show.
Thank you.
Very happy to be here again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amber, yeah, number 2. Amber's been on the show before, but Susan, this is your first time, so we will do Mitchie's Fishies 5 at the end. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it right now. But yeah, how's it going? Where you guys are calling in from? Susan, you said you're in Oregon right now?
Yeah, I'm outside of Eugene, Oregon. Oregon, I got to say it right. Hiking and bird watching with a buddy of mine and surviving through the heat wave. The other day when we were driving through the mountains, there was a recent fire. The thermometer on the car was 36.5 Celsius.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
yes, that was not what I said. I said other words. So it was really hot.
Yeah.
That's how it is here right now too. It's like
Is
it's
it?
supposed to get to 38 this week. It's like, why?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So hot.
Yeah, that's super hot.
Yeah.
Well,
Ontario's always hot. Or at least
Yeah.
southern
it's like
Ontario
muggy,
is.
you know? It's like
It's
so
so
humid right now.
It's almost
my God.
like the climate.
We've got the dry heat. We've got, and everything's lighting on fire. So it's lovely.
Yeah. Well, good to hear everything's going well for everybody. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Amber, like we said, you've been on the show before. We obviously met, Aldo met you back in Rochester, and we got to fish
That's right.
last summer together.
Yep.
Susan, you're a fellow Ontarian. Although you met Susan on the Margaree, right?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. We just, Yilma and I had flown out there the day before, and then drove up to, or into Halifax, I should say, and then drove up to, Cape Breton, met Kate and Scott. We got settled into the Airbnb, unpacked. It was kind of a late night. Obviously we just met Kate and Scott, and Mitchell Roberts, of course, was staying with us as well. So it was like kind of fun, set up the gear. We stayed up maybe a little late. I'm bleary-eyed the next day, kind of getting my surroundings. We're at the first pool, the first run, setting up the camera, like shooting Yilma, getting ready and stuff. And all of a sudden, like a beautiful red heeler comes out of the woods. And then not far after that, I hear a voice and says, "Hey, are you Aldo from SoFly? And you're Yilma from SoFly, aren't you?" And I'm like, "What?" We're on the Margaree. It's a pretty, like you're getting up at 4:30 if you're fishing with Kate, which you should, because you should be, Kate is going to be at the, and so Scott, I shouldn't say, but Kate's really, the driving force in the morning is like, and then Scott's the driving force to stay on the river. So it's like, you wake up at 4:30, you're there at the first light. So I'm totally out of it. And then Susan comes out of the woods and it's like, I was like, who, what? Yeah. And she's like, oh, I'm Susan, I'm from Ontario. I live on the Credit River and I'm friends with Rob. I'm good friends with Rob at Drift Outfitters. And I was like, okay.
That's crazy. Like from Ontario and Rob, and you're all the way out east. It's cool.
Yeah.
Small
So that was
world.
really, really cool. And then I think not long after, Susan, your friend
Susie.
swung up a beautiful brook trout.
Yeah, big fat.
It wasn't the
Sealer
Atlantic
brookie.
salmon we were hoping for, but holy shit, it was a nice brookie.
Yeah.
So that's how we
rad.
met, which was really, really cool.
Okay, so then the two of you, Amber and Susan, met up in Alaska. So what's the story here?
Well,
Yeah, we actually first started talking on the group chat. There's like a group Facebook for all the women that were going on this trip. And Susan had commented, I put a bunch of my pictures there, said I was going to be taking some photos of the ladies during the trip. And Susan had commented, being like, I know friends of yours. So yeah, that's how we kind of started. And then we met each other there.
And I'm like, you're Amber Toner. Wowzers. I was pretty excited to meet this famous photographer. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of exciting. And then she just becomes Amber, and she's great.
Oh, that's awesome. So what was this trip that y'all just took to Alaska? Like what's the background there? Because it looked, I mean, we were following along on Instagram a little bit, and it looked incredible, this place.
Oh my God, it looked amazing. And like, yeah, it's again, Susan's just, DMs me a picture of you and Amber hanging out. I was like, okay, well, this is too weird. It's too amazing of a trip. We got to have you both on the show to talk about this.
Well, I'll start, Amber, and then you can jump in.
Please do. Yeah.
There's an organization. I think Heather, who has a last name that starts with H that I can't remember, has an organization called United Women on the Fly, which is an amazing organization, and she posts things on Facebook in connection with all sorts of other organizations. And I was one day on Facebook, and I see this trip, and I go, crap.
Heather Hodson.
Heather Hodson. Perfect. That looks great. That's something I want to go on, but I can't afford it. It's too fancy. It's too much. And then, although I was out fishing with my friend Susie the next day, and I said, yeah, I found this thing and it looks really cool. And Susie went, you're going. It doesn't matter. You're going. This is a trip of a lifetime, woman. You're going. So then I call up the guy, Danny Frank, who is amazing, who arranges all these things. And I couldn't figure out how to get my Canadian money to him. And he's like, don't worry about it. If you want to go, you can go. So that's how I found out about it. And I signed up months ago. It was like last fall. And we had this wonderful group chat where we got to meet everybody, which was kind of neat, because when you arrived at the airport and you didn't know where you were and you didn't know anybody, and there's this lady who you saw her face on screen, it was pretty lovely. So take over, Amber, and talk about the lodge and whatever else.
Yeah, it's the whole trip was for women who had signed up through United Women on the Fly, and then also their nonprofit that they have started outside of that, which is I Fish I Belong. So the whole premise of that is, kind of all species, all techniques, all people belong in the sport of fishing, whether you're doing just fly fishing, gear fishing, and it's a really great little nonprofit that has started up doing all kinds of great stuff in the sport. And United Women on the Fly, same type of thing. So I got the opportunity to go and tag along on the trip and take photos. We went up to the lodge at 58 North, which is owned by Justin and Kate Crump, two really special, incredible humans. And we all kind of met in Anchorage, and then we all took a flight to King Salmon, and then just kind of tried to get situated among the mosquitoes when we arrived at the King Salmon Airport, and we were waiting for our bags. But it was really cool. There's a lot of really amazing women from all over on this trip, and there was a fellow Calgarian there, so we had a few Canadians on the trip, which was really cool.
That's
Tracy
super
was there.
cool.
Yeah. Then I hadn't met her before until this trip, so it was really cool.
Now, Amber, you've hosted trips with United Women on the Fly before, like the Reddington Roadie, like the women's rally. That's through. Is that's sort of through United Women on the Fly too, right?
Similar type of thing. Yeah, they support that. They partner with Reddington and Flywater Travel. So they do lots of these really great like events with getting just women together, various parts of, America and Canada, and getting them out fly fishing, whether it's through hosted trips or through like women-led organizations. It's really, they do a lot of really great work.
Man, king salmon is like in the middle, like way out there. I'm just looking at it on a map, and I'm like, what
Yeah.
the heck? That's crazy looking.
It's crazy.
You're like near the Bering Sea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're pretty
Wow.
far away.
That is so wild. Okay, so
You're
how many
right in the
days
heart.
was it that you say?
We were there for a week, right? Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, rad.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so you arrive at the airport and you get taken to this beautiful, refined, elegant lodge, and you feel kind of special because they say, "Well, we'll take your baggage and we'll put it in your cabin.
Right.
Come into the main lodge, and then you have cocktails."
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this place is beautiful. I'm just looking at
Yeah.
photos of it, and
Oh,
anyone listening, check it out.
I mean,
this place looks incredible.
I've been to
Yeah.
a few lodges. I know we all have, but this for sure was the creme de la creme of any experience I feel
Yeah.
like I'll ever have in my entire life. Like, it was, the work that they do there for their guests is really incredible. You're in the middle of nowhere. You're in the heart of Bristol Bay. Like, you're literally in the middle of nowhere, and you would never know it being at a lodge like that. Like, it's really, really amazing.
Yeah, the amenities are like pretty high, pretty amazing looking. I'm looking at pictures, and I'm like,
The design of the lodge, the food,
like
like
any lodge we've been to, Aldo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Where I'm cooking for you.
Yeah.
Oh no. We had Jason, our gourmet chef. He used to work at he has experience working at a Michelin star restaurant, and
That was handy.
I have celiac disease, which just means I have to be really careful around gluten. And when we arrive, and I have my cocktail in my hand, Kate, the most wonderful human being, immediately takes me over to meet Jason, and Jason says, "I know you've got celiac disease. I don't want you to worry. You're not going to have to worry at all this entire week." And I
that's
didn't.
great.
It was incredible. We all had wonderful food, but I knew that I never had to be concerned whatsoever. Yeah.
Which is such peace of mind, because like we've been saying, you're in the middle of nowhere, so
Yeah.
to know that you're just good. Yeah.
And what was really cool about the food that he did for you, Susan, was he didn't just like seclude you to only making celiac friendly food just for you. It was like he made celiac friendly bread for the whole table, or like the desserts for the most part, he tried his best to make the experience for everyone. Sometimes there's things that were catered just to her, but for the most part, he would work it into his menu where he would try to, and you would never, like the pancakes that we had that were like celiac friendly, and of course he serves them on like the first day of the Calgary Stampede, which was like brought back. I mean, I know he knows nothing of, like, he didn't know about that, he did this, but the Calgary Stampede, you get free pancake breakfast like all week here, so I was missing that back home. It's a big thing in Calgary. So I was missing that back home, and sure
the
enough,
Stampede or the pancakes?
The pancakes, the free pancakes for the most part.
The
Stampede. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But
right.
Yeah. It was really podcast altogether.
It's another podcast. But it was really cool. Like, it was that was the first day, and it reminded me of home a little bit. But anyways, the pancakes were better than anything I've ever had in my life, and I would never know that they were like gluten friendly. So he's a gift. Really, like,
that's amazing.
Talk about chefs. He's a gift.
That's awesome.
Oh man, this is really shaping up. Then you guys are in like the most beautiful lodge you could be in. You've got incredible food. Obviously, the staff is like taking hospitality to another level. So what was like your first experience with the nature? I guess like before you even got fishing, like the surroundings, and like what was that experience like?
I guess. Did you arrive when you flew in? Did you all land at King Salmon together?
Yeah. And then
what time of day was that? Was that like a morning, afternoon?
No, it was right before dinner, wasn't it? Like 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah, it was around 4, I think. Yeah.
So then we took about a 20-minute. Kate had a van. There was a van and a truck, and we drove to. You could drive to the lodge. There's not a lot of roads up there, but you could drive to the lodge. And then, as I said, they scooted our luggage away, and as you come around to look at even when you walk in the doors of the lodge, there's floor to ceiling windows that look out onto the river, and it just takes your breath away. You just go, how did I end up here? I think it really was breathtaking, and everywhere you looked, it was it's wilderness, wildness. Yeah.
And what river was that?
Can you pronounce it? Okay.
We're on the Nanak River. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce that right, but yeah. So there's like
Yeah.
king salmon, and then there's Nanak and South Nanak, all in kind of this area. And regularly they have about 1,000 people that live there year round, except for when the commercial fishing season starts and the sport fishing season starts, when the sockeye salmon run is happening. And the king salmon, they will grow to 20,000 people in this
Wow.
area.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty nuts. Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
yeah, just going back to Mitch's original question, like that, you fly in, it's around dinner time. Anybody who's been fly fishing and also kind of half paying attention, it's kind of hard not to hear Bristol Bay mentioned, especially if you're conservation minded. So what was that kind of experience like after, hype is a bad word, but like after, consuming, let's say Bristol Bay for a while through the internet? What was that like, seeing it for the first time, even though it was around dinner?
You kind of have in your mind what it might be like, and I'm not sure I had a good grip on what it was going to be like, but it's the vastness, I think, although that you see, and it's more. It hit us, I think. Speaking for myself, it hit me more when I got up in the Beaver and we're flying over, and you just go, "Holy Mother of God!" It just, the land and the water goes on and on and on. So when you first come into the lodge, it's sort of secluded. You can't really see anybody else, so you're kind of in this pristine, elegant, lovely little area, gravel road, gravel bits, beautiful greenhouse that they had built, so you had fresh veg regularly. But you really couldn't see anybody else, and we each had each had our shared cabins, and then there was a massive set of stairs that went down to a bottom cabin, and that's where the plane docked and the boats were docked. And you walk down there and you just kind of went, oh, wow. and this huge, beautiful river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just like getting lost in photos here because I'm just like looking at the fish and stuff. I'm like, whoa, this place is gnarly.
Yeah, I think too, like for people don't really, I mean, for me anyways, I thought of Alaska, I just thought of mountains everywhere. I mean, I know the tundra is there, but I didn't really grasp that like this is all fairly flat land. There's mountains, but it's all tundra. And you're seeing all these like snaking rivers and tributaries and various lakes and all that kind of stuff. So when you get to the lodge and you hang out there, but the next day when you're fishing and you're taking the float plane to wherever you're going, that's when you really get to see that perspective, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, so the fishing, how was the fishing kind of organized each day, and what were the opportunities for fishing?
Okay,
do you want to go first?
We need those cue
fishing
cards
for, ladies.
yeah, Susan.
Okay,
Susan.
So
you go first.
You'd kind of, okay. So Kate would sort of very carefully go around and chat with each of us to see what we were interested in and what did we like. And so you sort of knew kind of usually the night before where you were going and what you were doing. So there were 4 guides: Justin Crump, Kate Crump, Sophia Newton, and Gabe Cunningham. Okay. And so you were always with one of the guides and 2 or maybe one or 2 other of the women in the group. So for example, my very first day, I lucked out huge, big time. I got Kate and then her friend Whitney who's from Oregon, and I'm hoping to see in the next few days.
Fun.
And we went in a boat with Nuka with Kate's dog, and we screamed down the river, hoping that the sockeye were in, and we were going to be getting a lot of sockeye, but they hadn't come in yet. So we toured around, had a look at the landscape, had made a decision that we would come back to the lodge, grab a bite, and then go up to one of the creeks and gear fish for king salmon or chinook. So you're down on the dock by 7, and you're back from whatever your escapades are by around 4-ish or 5, sometimes later. So that very first day, we didn't get any sockeye, but I got the biggest friggin' chinook that I'd ever seen in my life. And that was not catch and release. That was catch and keep.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. And just
That's kind of cool.
to let you know that whatever fish were caught, it was all shared between all of us if anybody wanted to bring it home. I think that was the only day we could take chinook because it closed after that.
That's
After
right.
that, it was all
Interesting.
sockeye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that big chinook?
Oh my God. so we're on the boat, and can you tell I get really excited? And so you've got your rods, these gear rods, in the little holders.
Yeah.
And I'm holding and staring at it, and Kate's going, Susan, staring at it's not going to make any difference. You got to just calm yourself. Okay. And then I'm staring at it, Susan,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden Kate goes, look. And the other rod that I was supposed to be watching just goes kaboom down. And so then we come over, and it had these little units that you had to pull the rod out of this little holder. So I pull it out, hit myself in the face, but I don't care because I've got a big friggin' fish on, doing all this. Anyway, and we finally get it in close to shore. And Kate goes, do you want a picture with it? Of course I want a picture with it. So I'm knee deep in the water with this beautiful Chinook salmon. Pictures were taken. The dog was having a blast. Maybe there was a little bit of screaming because I was pretty excited. And then we got in and we did it again. So
That's awesome.
that first afternoon for me, I can't remember where Amber was, but that was my first afternoon. And you're just literally blown away because you put your rod in and you wait for 10 minutes and you get a fish. That's what it seemed like anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's
awesome
crazy.
that, just looking at the website here, you've got, your opportunities for trout, char, and of course all the marvelous salmon species. It's kind of cool that, you make this plan the night before, and then everybody has this, could all have radically different days, and then you come back at night. And I'm sure, that's what like when I've gone down to Ascension Bay in Mexico, that's how it is in Mexico. You all hang out at night and for breakfast in the morning, but then you're off just with one other angler and your guide, and you don't know what's happening with everybody else. So it's like, it just becomes this really exciting moment when everybody comes back, because you're like, well, what happened to you today?
Yep.
Especially if you had a shitty day, you're hoping somebody had a good day, or maybe you're not.
Yeah.
But like, I'm hoping that somebody had a shit, so I can live vicariously through them. So that's got to be fun, coming back to that kind of energy.
Oh, and it was, and like I said before we started, these women, these anglers were just so. It was like we were all connected, even though we had never met each other before. We had this same passion for the outdoors, for the wilderness and the wild, and playing. And it didn't matter how cold it was or rainy it was. Oh, I bet you, Amber, all the pictures you ever took just had people with these enormous grins on their faces because it was extraordinary.
It was, yeah. There's your grin, Susan, was one of my favorite. Your smile is just the best in general, but gosh, when you caught that king and you were just so happy, I love taking photos like that. Like that, capturing the essence of an angler after like a big catch like that, or just a moment of stoke, is my favorite part of doing fly fishing photography, hands down.
Yeah, and you had the best subjects. What was it like photographing, in that area, coming from, where you usually shoot, going to Alaska? What was it like as a photographer?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Just the most scenic places, but very different terrain. So the first day that I got to fish, like Monday we got there, I was actually quite sick, so I wasn't able to fish that day, which was really unfortunate. But the Tuesday, the next day, I was finally feeling better. I was able to go out, and we went to the Nushagak, and we had to take a float plane over to a camp where they had, if you look it up on a map, like it, you really start to see these distances that you're going. So we took the float plane over to that river, and they had a little camp set up where they keep their jet boats, and they kind of maintain them there. So we went up on the jets, and Susan was with me that day, as well as Mia and Tracy were the two other ladies with us. We had two boats, and we were fishing for kings kind of all day, which was really cool. It's tough photographically because it was a really wide, big river, pretty brown water, and really it was a bit of a bluebird day that day, which is not what you expect in Alaska. So it was really bright. And then it depends, like, other rivers are going to. I didn't get to do a lot of the hikes, but that some of the ladies, like Susan, got to do some of the hikes for rainbows, which was really cool and very scenic. I did get to go to the Margot River that dumps into Lake Nanook, and that was the most picturesque place I've ever been. It was absolutely incredible. Still lake water, river dumping into it, huge mountains around you, cloud inversion everywhere. Like, it was just really wild. So for pictures, for landscape, that was probably my favorite thing. But I will say the most wild experience as a photographer and an angler, I feel like, was going to Brooks Falls or Brooks River and fishing with Alaskan brown bears. I didn't get to fish, but the day that I went to go look at the brown bear, the Alaskan brown bears, these big coastal brown bears that are coming up to the Brooks Falls. The Brooks Falls is pretty famous. They go up there to catch the sockeye salmon that are jumping up the falls. And I went just as a photographer that day. I got to hang out with a photographer named Mark Emery, who does a lot of cinematography for National Geographic and stuff like that. It's just a really cool human. So I got to hang out with him. Yeah, and we got to stand on the platform and shoot photos of the bears catching salmon. And I mean, these bears are like, they're so close to you. And when I didn't get the fishing experience, but I got to watch people fishing that were there. And I have this series of photos, and they're not like the best photos I've ever taken, but there's this group of anglers in the Brooks River, and there's a giant, big coastal brown bear kind of like walking towards them. They're in the river. They're not far. Like, what they tell you is you just kind of walk slowly out of the way of the bear's path. The bear is there to catch fish. That's what the bear cares about. So as an angler, you're supposed to just, or anyone in the area, you're supposed to just kind of move out of the way slowly. Don't run, obviously, but just move slowly. So I'm watching them these anglers try to cross the river. There's this huge bear behind them, really close, like, I don't know, 8 feet, 10 feet away. And it's zoning in.
You're stressing Mitch out, by the way.
I'd be dead so fast. I would die.
I will show you the photos. It's nuts. They're like, it's like zoning.
Yeah.
It's zoning in on this pod of sockeye that are coming through, but it looks like it's like looking right at these people who are trying to slowly cross this river. And then it just goes
just like,
and
oh my
charges, like it just lunges into the river right behind them, sends up like basically a tidal wave. And these people are just like still trying to like slowly cross. I have the whole series of photos. Never in my life have I witnessed anything like this. And you would not like here to be around grizzlies or anything like that. Like, you don't want to run into bears here. Like, they're not aggressive, but they're not used to humans like they are out there. It's just, and the food source that these bears have is crazy. That was really long-winded, but I had to say that because it was.
Oh, that's a cool story.
As a photographer and an angler, like that's what you're getting there. Like, literally big open rivers to small streams to like whatever you want, and a lot of bears. Lots of bears, really close.
Yeah, it's cool that you're fishing the main river. You're also taking float planes to other places. There's the lake, there's the falls. Like, geez, there's a lot of stuff. Hiking to rainbow trout. Like, there's a ton of stuff you can do.
Yeah,
and as I said, Kate sort of, because we were an organized group, she was careful to put us in little pods and have us do that. But I suspect if you were not in an organized group, you could say, I really wanted do this, which I guess basically is what I said. I really want to go trout fishing.
Yeah.
And but she was very careful to make sure that we got the broadest experience. And so there was
That's cool.
sockeye, kings, grayling, dollies, rainbows. They just kept coming. Like it just kept coming.
And good numbers of
Right,
fish.
yeah.
Like the nature felt like, oh, this place is wild and there's a ton of life.
Yeah.
Watching the sockeye run is insane. Like because they have a certain escapement allowance for like, so the big commercial fisheries are set up, and then only so many fish get through the nets every day. And I think in the 3 days, there was something like 90,000 sockeye that had moved into the river system. It's probably one of the biggest migration of a species in the world. And that's what you mean when those bears and stuff like
That's
that.
That's after netting, and that's
after netting, and that's like
after netting.
They're obviously a lot of the bigger sockeye are getting netted up, but and you're catching your limit. Like that was a different aspect for me fishing wise. Was I come from like a catch and release area. Like our fish are very like threatened, our species of fish here, and it's all catch and release. I mean, I wouldn't eat anything out of the Bow River anyways, because there's like 5 water treatment facilities on it, so it's disgusting. But that's there. It's like you're in Alaska and you're catching like 5 sockeye each, and you're taking them back and you're watching them get processed on the dock by Kate and her crew.
Right on the dock. Yeah.
Really, those are some of my favorite photos I shot actually, are her and Whitney sitting or standing in the water by the dock processing salmon. Super cool.
I think I remember seeing those. It's just the flesh is like so bright pink. It's like it's wild, It's quite the juxtaposition. Okay, fly fishing wise though. We should probably talk about fly fishing.
That's all fly fishing.
I was going to talk about bears, but we'll talk
I know. It was funny because the last guest we had on, he had Esteban he's from the Yukon.
Yeah.
He had all these fascinating bear stories as well, and we're just like
talking about bears because
now we just need to start a different podcast about bears. I think
the theme.
Probably they deserve their own podcast.
But who do I start with? I don't know. Well, Susan, since we met on the Marguerite, and I've every time we've shared water together, it's always been with 2-handed rods.
Yeah.
Were you spay fishing at all, or was it just all single hand stuff?
It was all single hand. I was lucky enough to get 2 trout fishing adventures, and I think we were using 5 weights. The first one.
Sorry, and this is for rainbows. Sorry to interrupt.
Is for rainbow, grayling, and dollies.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
So the first one I went on, I was with Sophia and Mia, and Mia was this woman from Alaska. Sophia was the guide, and she was amazing. She just was amazing. And as Amber said, they don't let you do anything. They want to make sure that you experience everything that's wonderful, and so they do the things like carry the extra fly rod and do all that. So the plane dropped us off at this little lake, and then we had about an hour trudge through marsh and swamp and tundra, and there were so many mosquitoes. I've never seen it like this. You went like this, and your hand would be covered in mosquitoes, like just. Oh my God. But we just kept going. And then we got to this. Sophia's going, oh, we're close to the river. And then there's this steep cliff we have to climb down, half of it on your butt, scooting down on your butt, down to this exquisite, winding river. Like it was just elegance and wonder. And you can see the little rainbows just jumping like this. And so fly rod's ready. And it was hard casting in that you were doing a lot of roll casting, and there was a lot of structure. So I don't know how many flies I lost, but once you got your side roll cast going, it was just, the grayling would just come up and grab your fly. It was all dry fly fishing pretty much. And
my God.
Some streamers, but and the rainbows would just go. So it was magical. It was just magical. And yeah, that particular day, it was so hot. We had sun shirts on with hats and tubes, walking in, and then you peel everything off. And by then the mosquitoes were manageable. You just didn't care because it was so much fun. And so we got a bunch of rainbows, got a bunch of grayling, and then we have to climb back up this cliff. Oh my God, that was really fun. And it was hot, and we're going through this marsh, and Mia fell down and I fell down, but it didn't matter. And then Chris, the pilot, flies overhead. So Sophia goes, "You got to wave." So we wave at Chris. So we knew we'd be there. And literally, there's nothing on your body that's not sweating. It's just dripping off. We get to the plane. Chris is with his cowboy hat on. He's untying the plane, and he goes, "Just get in, get in." So we kind of clamber into the plane, and then he smiles and he goes, "There's some cold beverages for you ladies."
Oh, that's
Cold boxes
awesome.
of Chardonnay were waiting for us. It was
That's
just
sick.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
my
that's
God.
amazing.
So
Wow.
that was pretty cool.
It's like an adventure within an adventure. Like you're
Yeah.
flying, like you're saying, like, you take that flight, it's an hour walk in, and you're dry fly fishing for rainbows.
And you're dry
So,
flies.
okay.
Oh, and of course, don't forget, you see the belugas on your way there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
dang. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've seen
Yes.
whales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see the
In the
sockeye
bay.
jumping too.
Oh, in the bay.
Yeah.
Like from the plane?
Yes.
Mhm.
So you're just whale watching from planes, flying to catch rainbow trout.
On dry flies.
Yeah.
Like I was
Pretty much.
catching small. I went smallmouth bass fishing the other day. I saw a beaver. Man, Alaska's so much cooler. That's
pretty
crazy.
Cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Dang.
Amber, what was your fly fishing experience like? What was did you have like a standout day? I know you're shooting mainly, so did you get a stolen moment for any fishing for yourself?
Yeah, I had lots of opportunity to fish. My favorite moment fly fishing though was on a river called Big Creek. Is it Big Creek or Big River,
Creek.
Susan? Do you remember? Big Creek.
Big Creek.
And it's an interesting river because it's a little, I don't know, the widest it is maybe like 8-10 feet wide, maybe just a bit more. And it's all grass bank and then, or like grass tundra falling over, all this mud and like clay everywhere and mud bottom. And you jet up, and it almost feels like you're going through like mangroves or something like that, just the way, because it's all like switchbacks. So you're kind of jetting up through this really interesting river, unlike anything I had fished or been or experienced yet. And you're fishing for kings, for king salmon. And I mean, you're not really like fly casting a lot from the boat. It's a lot of like lobbing back and forth, like big heavy rigs, right? But still, you're still on a fly rod. And there's huge king salmon in that little river. And I was fishing with Justin, the guide, and then Tracy, who's from Calgary, and Katie, who's from Houston. And the three of us just had a blast. It was ridiculous. But I hooked into a very large king salmon, and it was raining, and it was very like Alaska weather. There's mosquitoes everywhere, no wind. Justin pulls the boat over, and I'm trying to get out of the boat, and Tracy's already out. So I feel like, okay, cool, I can step off the boat. I'm good while I'm fighting this fish. Meanwhile, the part where I stepped out was right where it dropped off. So I had fallen halfway out of the boat, like still trying to fight this fish. Tracy caught me, and then Justin had to like come over and help me clamber out of the boat and into the mud to now continue to fight this fish. King salmon, I don't know if you guys have.
So it's still on.
Oh, it's still on. And he's just running. Like I'm in my backing, and now I have to chase this fish. And I know we all have probably had experiences chasing fish before. I like chasing fish on a river where there's rocks and I have stability underneath me, not where I'm sinking to my knees. So had to go upriver, chase this fish. Katie was adamant on netting it. I have a reel I'm going to share of this whole experience because Tracy videoed the entire thing. And Katie was adamant about netting my salmon. So she's like trying to run up, but you're in all mud bank that's going up to your knees and to your waist, and we're all getting stuck. And it took a while, but I finally landed the fish, and it was a good sized king salmon. It was super fun. And I caught quite a few that day. So I was lucky to get that experience there. It was a really cool fishery, but wasn't expecting the very muddy bottom, that's for sure.
My experience when people say good size fish, especially if they're guides or experienced anglers or people who travel a lot, is like it's the most fucked up fish you've ever seen in your life. So like, what are we talking here?
It was pretty big.
I caught two.
Estimated
They're both I mean, I don't even know, honestly. Like it was, I don't know.
Like
It was big. It was bigger
40
than
pounds,
half my
60
body.
pounds, 80 pounds?
No,
Oh
it
my
was
God.
the kind of fish where you like grab its tail and it's like it's
yeah,
hard to
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
you know. Yeah.
You can't lift it. I mean, Susan caught one too. She caught that picture I posted of her. That king salmon was huge.
Yeah.
So they're impressive
Alaskan
fish.
king salmon. I imagine they're
Hmm.
pretty big. And yeah, wrestling, chasing one in mud, and it's a
Yeah,
huge fish. Yeah, that's crazy. My God.
yeah. But it was fun.
That's
I
super
mean, there
rad.
was lots of different ample opportunities to fly fish different ways, which is really, really cool. I think for an angler, you get to experience kind of everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What did
And
you get that
although
king on? On that, what fly was it that you're using for that one?
They're not really flies.
it was a hook.
It's like a hook
They're
and
just
an
like
egg.
heavy.
Yeah, it was like
An egg. An egg.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, good
Yeah.
So
old
we would be
modern
really
fly
good
fishing.
at it coming from Ontario, is what
Yeah,
you're
but
saying.
we did do
Yeah,
lots
exactly.
of streamer. We did lots of streamer fishing for dollies and stuff on the
Yeah.
Margot River, and that's
Yeah.
when you finally get to really like do some good casting and stuff like that. So there's lots of opportunity for your traditional style fly fishing, but salmon are obviously a
Kind
little
of
bit
do it all.
different. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's so cool. Because you were there for a week, so every day was it like 5 fish days kind of thing? 2 travel days? Is that kind of?
Mhm.
5.5 because we left on the Friday,
Yeah, we
Saturday.
left on a
Anyway, but
Saturday.
we got
That's
to
right.
we fished the morning that we were leaving. We all got
Mhm.
because you're on the river by 7 and in a plane, and we were back by noon, and then we went to a Native Heritage Center in Nunuk. And met an elder and learned a lot about the cultural history. And then we
Oh,
went to
cool.
a
So
brilliant
cool.
cannery, but not a ginormous cannery. It's a woman who runs her own cannery, and they do it all by hand. And they have a viewing platform. So we're all up at this viewing platform looking at this wonderful woman named Amanda um, and her team processing the fish as they come in. And that was pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, I think it was one of the last hand canneries in Bristol Bay, that one, where
Yeah.
it's done by a team of 8 people. And they have a whole,
Yeah.
it's like an assembly line of like, the
Yeah.
whole process to getting the fish packaged. It was really, really neat to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. Susan, highlight of the trip for you. What was like the best takeaway? Like, what would be
Man.
the one thing you're like, yo,
Aside from the heated toilet seats, because that was pretty amazing.
heated toilet seats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Bathrooms
Yeah.
were
Like
heated
the
mirrors. Like,
yeah,
That's
it
so
was.
sick.
I know.
how do you come home after
Um,
that?
I don't really
Yeah.
know. I'm
I
looking at this
know.
place. It just
Hard.
looks so cool. Like it looks like in the middle of
See,
nowhere.
that's
but-
like if I was one of these really rich like business like Elon Musk or something, I wouldn't be working and running Tesla. I'd just be doing that all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
You know?
It's-
Like what are they
I know.
heated toilet
Amazing.
seats?
It was amazing.
So that's the peak? Is the heated toilet seats? What's your favorite?
Well, that's like almost the very peak. I would say, I mean, there were so many things. This place, I would say 2 things were really remarkable. And I think all of us would say that the people that are there, the staff, they were all magical. They were genuine. And so many other lodges you go to, they're not that they're out to make a buck, but um, these people were all like, Eric Lund at Esnagami. They were all like Eric and Sue. Just their hearts were huge, and all they wanted to do was make your day better. So that was a biggie. But I would also say the other day that I went fly fishing, right at Tracy and I were with Gabe, one of the other guides, and Tracy was having a hoot, just a hoot. She has a hoot doing anything, but Huck and Dolly Varden. But Gabe put the biggest, ugliest fly. It was this pink mouse thing on my fly rod, and he said, "Just cast it over here." And I looked at him. I said, "You're out of your mind. I can't cast that far. I can't." And he goes,
Yeah.
"Yes, you can."
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh, I guess if Gabe thinks I can, double haul, strip, 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 boom. Oh my God, I could cast that far." And boom, I got a dolly. So it was,
Oh damn.
it was like somebody believed in me. And I guess if he believes in me, I must be able to do it. And it was just hooking that fish and bringing it in was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's rad. Yeah, and Lund,
That's a
Eric,
great story.
if you're listening, heated toilet seats at Esnagun. Brother, that is key.
Yeah.
Amber, if you had to pick one photo that stands out to you as like your fave from the trip, do you know which one it would be off the top of your head?
Oh gosh, frick. I mean, I have like over 400 photos that I edited from this trip. Like I have a
Wow.
lot. So I don't know if in terms of an absolute favorite. I mean, I really love the one of Susan with her king because that's just her stoke level was so amazing. I have
Oh my
another
God.
one that I really like of Whitney and Kate sockeye fishing together, and Whitney is just a character.
Yeah.
Sorry about this in the background. Hopefully, you guys are good.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
No, it's
That's
fine.
okay.
Yeah. But I'd say probably one of my favorite photos that I took, or one of my favorite experiences, was Whitney walking down the beach with her allotment of sockeye, and she having them all hooked in her fish, or sorry, in her fingers, all 5 fish like in all of her fingers, and just walking down the beach like the badass that she is. Meanwhile, there was this
Badass.
group of anglers that had kind of been above us and kind of were encroaching on our zone, and they're just watching her walk down the beach. So I have a photo of her like that, and she just looks so awesome, and it's probably one of my favorites.
Little F you to those other people. I love
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, it sounds like it was an amazing trip. I guess now we'll switch on over and do a little Mitchie's Fishies 5 to round things out. Because
it's almost been, it's been 45 minutes
yeah.
already.
we're rocking. We're really rocking along. So, Susan, we're going to do a segment with you. We do every show, Mitchie's Fishies 5, the same 5 questions we've asked Amber in the past.
But Amber, if you want to switch if you want to switch answers, tap in.
Feel free. Just jump in and switch if you want.
Okay.
All right, Susan. Number 1, Mitch's Fishes 5 is, what is your favorite fish and why?
No,
pick a favorite fish.
That's
What would
just
it be?
mean.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make my own rules.
Okay.
It depends. Okay.
Okay.
If I'm in because there's 2 fish that just make my heart drive. I love a brook trout fishing. I love brook trout fishing with a dry fly, and when they just come up and they sip your fly, that just takes your breath away. No matter where you are on the planet, brook trout. That being said, like Kate Sheeran, my heart is really with the Atlantic salmon. When an Atlantic salmon takes your fly, the tug is the drug, and it just zings. And when you go into your backing, and your heart goes with your backing, so it's a toss up. It's a toss up. I like them both.
And you have such a strong connection to 2 places that the Credit Valley and the Marguerite. It's hard to pick. I know. I feel you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pick 2.
Thank you.
And those are both beautiful fish.
Oh, they're so beautiful. Yeah.
Mitch, you just have to go Atlantic salmon fishing.
I know.
Yeah.
You would love
do.
it so much.
I got it.
Oh, you would. You would.
Okay, number 2 is, if you could fish anywhere in the world right now, assuming it's going to be the most amazing fishing ever, where would you go and why?
It depends. Well, in my fly fishing career, I've always wanted to go to Patagonia. I've always wanted to go. And I've listened to your podcast long enough that I hear all these other incredible places, and even so, Patagonia, just the not just the fishing, but the hiking, the environment, the sky, the fishing, more fishing. However, when I was on the Marguerite a couple weeks ago, Mitchell Roberts came up. They sat with me and showed me video of hooking fish in New Zealand, and
that is rad.
Mitchell turned you around.
There's Mitchell with their guide, and the water's crazy cold, and the fly comes up and takes the fish comes up and takes their fly.
Yeah.
And it's just so incredibly exciting. And the water's so clear, and so I can't decide.
Those are New Zealand, Patagonia.
Yeah.
Those are both like, okay.
Even after Alaska?
After
I
a
know, I was
lot,
gonna
well,
say,
yeah.
you say
Yeah.
like Alaska.
And I hear Seychelles, I hear other
Sure.
places, but
I think
Well-
some of those answers are trendy too. They're like,
yeah.
you know,
They're
I mean,
like the
hey, I would love to go to
destination.
the Seychelles. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
And you
But-
asked me what was wonderful about Alaska and what I enjoyed the most. And those rivers, they're so quiet and peaceful. And you know, Amber, when you fly in and there's nothing there, and all of a sudden you're there. So that's
It's
kind of what I'd be hoping in
special.
Patagonia and in New Zealand. So Seychelles is amazing, and all those other places are amazing, but those places are pretty special.
I dig it. Okay,
Okay.
number 3 is, what is your best or favorite fishing memory? One of your best fishing memories ever. Of all
Okay, I
time.
actually did think about this one. The other ones I
Okay.
didn't think
Okay.
about. Okay, so this is kind of a story that hopefully won't take too long, but it's on
Doesn't
the
matter if it
Marguerite.
does.
Okay,
Okay.
it's on the Marguerite, and it started before I had a place in the Marguerite. I would go there every year with some friends of mine. Actually, my friend Julie is in the kitchen or in the other room right now, waiting with a cold beer for me to finish here. But we would.
You can have it on the show. It's just-
I know. I thought about it, but I gotta be sharp. Anyway, so we would stay. We'd stay for maybe a week. Then it got longer for 8 days, and then it got 10 days, and then we eventually bought a place. But anyway, I went to a pool with my friend Jane, another friend of mine, called Boarsback, and Janie had never hooked a salmon, never. On the Marguerite. So we're getting ready to hike in, and I'm all ready because it takes me about a minute and a half to get ready. But Jane was taking more time fixing her waders and doing this and that. And there's a house across the road, and there's a guy that is in a wheelchair. So I cross the road and go over, start yakking with Buddy in the wheelchair. And we talk about what it used to be like when there was lots of Atlantic salmon and you could get a fish every day. And, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So we had this great connection. And so then Jane's ready, so we go to Boarsback, and she hooks a salmon. Oh my god! When we come back out, Buddy's on the ramp, and so we're yelling, "Hey, she got a salmon, and how big?" And that was great. A couple of days later, I think it was the day before we were leaving, I go up to Tent Pool, and I think, although you guys were at Tent Pool, and a miracle happened. A miracle happened.
Isn't Temple where we met?
It was either Tent Pool or Shepherd's Rock. Tent Pool is where we met. Yeah.
Tent Pool's
That's
where we
right.
met.
So a miracle happened. There's two lads down at the bottom of the pool, and I hook a salmon after like 2 casts. And so they're there as proof. They see me bring it in. One guy comes up. There's no net. He just tails the salmon for me. That's great. And he walks back. Couple more casts. Don't I hook another salmon? Holy crap.
Damn.
Salmon. Buddy comes up, but before he comes up, I've literally got it right here. I lose it. But we see it. It's all exciting. Down he runs. Then I hook a rock, and I'm like, so I wade out into the river and take the fly off, and I pitch the fly because I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And a salmon takes it. And
God.
What fly was it?
it was a general practitioner.
Oh,
Just
dang. Nice.
And they're like, huh. And
They're like, get out of the run.
And I'm like trying to get the line off, and I've caught, and I've got it on my boot, and it was this huge dance that I did, and it's jumping, and I've now got it around my waist, and it was just insanity. Anyway, they're killing themselves laughing, and I lose the fish, and I lose the fly, and that's it. Anyway, so that was in the morning. So in the afternoon, I go back to Boarsback, and it's pouring rain like it does down there, and I look and I see Buddy in the window, and he just waves at me, and off I go, and I have no more luck. But I come back, and he's there, and he opens the window, and it's just sheets coming down, and he hollers to ask me, how was the pool? And I said, nothing at the pool. Then I try and describe to him what happened at Tent Pool, and I end up doing this ridiculous dance and jump around, and he's killing himself laughing. I'm killing myself laughing. Anyway, when I take my rod apart and get back in the car and I start driving away, and I think, that laughter, that was the best. hooking the salmon was pretty phenomenal, but sharing the laughter and the stories with that man, I don't even know who he is, but it made my day and it made my whole fishing experience. So that's my favorite fishing story.
That's a pretty great story.
It was kind of
Dang.
fun. It's kind of
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
It's very
Good
East
day.
Coast.
Yeah, very much
Tugging
so.
at the heartstrings there, Susan.
Mhm.
There we
Yes,
go. There we
indeed.
go, boy. Yeah.
She's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's a
you,
very
Amber.
romantic place.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's a very romantic. Well, that too, but Susan is as well. But it's the Marguerite River.
Oh.
It's a very
It's
very
and
heartfelt place.
yeah, and that's what makes it so special. And everybody's
Yeah.
kind, and they want you to hook a fish. You know, they'll when laughingly in Ontario when I'm brook trout fishing or whatever, bass fishing,
Yeah.
and somebody says, you know, did you hook a fish? See anything? No, I lie
Oh, yeah.
immediately. You know, that's just
Yeah.
what you do. But down there, no, I saw one rise right near the. Do you know where it always comes up? I saw one rise there, and oh yeah,
Friendly
it's very
sharing
different.
information. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Ah, what a special place. Okay. Number 4 is why do you fly fish? Why do you keep going back out there?
Well, in truth, if you took all the responses, all the answers that all your guests have ever had, and put them all together, that would be why I fly fish. All the feel part of the river, I feel connected to the earth. I love the tug. I love the beauty of the fish. All that stuff. But it occurred to me actually on our trip to Alaska. I actually get misty thinking about this. When we come in, no matter who you were with, we'd all come in and we'd have 87,000 stories. And here are these women, these people from Idaho, Missouri, Alberta, Texas, California, Ontario, Oregon, Alaska. And we didn't know each other before. And all of a sudden we have these connections and we share this same powerful, wonderful joy. It's those human connections. I think that's another reason why I love to fish. Like the connection I had with Buddy in the wheelchair on the Marguerite, or the connection I had with Yoma and Aldo, and it's like I recognize those voices, because that just makes it so much more powerful and wonderful.
Yeah, the
So,
community's awesome. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. The connection with people, for sure. How it kind of brings people
Yeah.
together. That's cool.
Standing
I don't think
next to
we've
the
ever
bar, having your drink, and then going wow, and
Oh,
laughing
yeah.
at Amber's and Katie, the video that she's going to share with you. That is truly hysterical. It's
I
hysterical.
can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Amber, would your answer have changed since the last time we talked to you? Like, why do you fly fish? Is it different for you now? Doing a little more traveling.
I mean,
Having hosted some women's retreats and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, I think my answer, I honestly don't remember what I said last time. I feel like that was a while ago. My life has changed so much since then. But I think similarly to Susan, for me, fly fishing, especially this late in my fly fishing career, has been centered around that community building and meeting people, meeting like-minded people, especially from the conservation space, and knowing that so many fly anglers do really care about the places that they fish. There's a lot of pride in the places that they fish, and there's a lot of action to try to help those places. So I think meeting so many like-minded people like that in this sport, and then just being able to sit down, like I wouldn't have met Susan any other way. And so just to sit across the table from her and share stories is just such a really cool thing, and I really find that that's unique to this type of sport. So I think that's why I continue to do it, for sure.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Susan, the last Mitchie's Fishies 5
Okay.
is if you were a fly pattern, what would you be? What fly pattern best represents you and why?
Wow. Depends on how my hair looks right now, but but I'd probably say a GP. I'd probably say a red.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, yeah, but one that's actually
like that.
half beat up. It's been in the river and some of the feathers are gone, but you still put it on because you know it's hooked fish before. It's just a little nasty looking, but you believe in it. That would be.
That's awesome.
And besides, I have you can't really see it, but I have a tattoo of it. It's supposed to be a GP. Just when it hits the water and it goes.
Oh, sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
splays out.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's
It's a great fly.
That's
It's
the first time we've heard that fly too, so that's
for
that's
sure.
great.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool, yeah.
We don't hear too many Atlantic salmon flies on this show,
Yeah.
but
No,
we hear a few.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, before we get into the sort of like where can people find stuff, Amber, I know the Highwood, and you've been doing lots of work to raise awareness around protecting the Kananaskis, the Highwood, all that stuff. Just, I know it's like a whole other conversation, but like, do you want to talk about that at all? How people can get involved and what's going on? A little update on that.
Before we sign off.
Yeah. Oh, sure. No, thank you for the opportunity. I'm still working with a group called Take a Stand for Kananaskis, and currently there is a pause on the clear cutting that was supposed to happen. Spray Lake Sawmills was purchased by West Fraser, which is a large logging company in Western Canada. So they held an open house, and they're just trying to get more feedback and work on new forest plans for those areas. So it's a pause. It's not necessarily going to stop. There's other clear cutting within the Highwood headwaters that had happened in the last year, where you can see evident cut blocks. But for that area, because it is essential bull trout spawning habitat, and it has been confirmed by some work that hopefully we can get it stopped for good. There's some more studies that are going to be done thanks to some really generous fundraising that the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society Southern Alberta chapter did. They raised $55,000 within a month to get a bunch of scientists and environmental specialists in there to really assess the habitat and the bull trout spawning in that area. So if that could be a nail in the coffin for it, that would be amazing, but we'll see. So people can stay involved by just reading up about it and honestly checking out CPAWS and checking out Task. Those types of things would probably help best right now. Mm-hmm.
As a conservationist and a conservation sort of photographer, with that angle in mind, like what is these places like Alaska, like what do they do to like your soul? Like how do they impact you when you leave?
I mean, I feel like I was a bit of a changed person after I left Alaska specifically. I mean, I've been to so many different places, but there's something about the vastness and really like you think wilderness in some places that you go, but I mean, you go to Kananaskis or to Banff and like yes, like there's wild places within Alberta for sure, but to go to Alaska where it's like so expansive, there's not that many people there. There's so much history, and I mean, our water sources, like there's so many glaciers, there's so many things in that area. It's so vital to the entire world, and it's really, really impactful mentally for sure. And definitely makes you, I don't know, it made me want to just go there as much as I humanly can. And I've been lots of places where I'm like, oh, I'd love to go back there one day. But with Alaska, I'm like, so when can I go back? It really was quite the experience.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And where can people see the things you saw, the things you captured? How can people find your photos of this trip?
I mean, I'll be sharing stuff intermittently on the Bug Parade, which is on Instagram, and then there's also the Lodge at 58 North Instagram, and their website will showcase a few photos as well as United Women on the Fly. So there'll be more to come with that for sure.
Radical. Well, that's great. I mean, that sounds like it was an incredible trip, and thank you so much, guys, for sitting and taking us through it. Because I don't know, we got to find a way to go to this place.
You got to go there.
What the hell? Like heated toilet seats, brother. Come on.
Yeah. And I really,
it's pretty awesome.
If I could say one more thing about Susan before you guys go, I really suggest carrying on her incredible tradition because she is such a kind-hearted and really amazing person, and I'm absolutely in love with her. But she always had this tradition of bringing everyone together at the table at the end of a fishing day. And we all know we like to exchange stories, but she would get everyone, and she held everyone to it. It was like, no, we are doing this. So she would ask everyone, can you share one, what was the best part of your day? One thing, like one highlight of the day. And you'd often think, oh, it'd be like someone would be saying, oh, the biggest fish I ever caught. But so many times it was a really personal and incredibly vulnerable experience for someone. And they shared it and it bonded the group. And the act of doing that was really, really good for bringing a whole bunch of people together at the end of the day. So, and it was kudos to her. We even had a little Canadian award ceremony. Like, she is just,
Yeah.
my goodness, she's just a gem. So if anyone could take anything when they go to lodges and stuff like that, to carry on that kind of thing, I think is really good for getting to know people and, elevating that experience.
I love that. I love that.
That's
Susan,
awesome.
you're a gem. Susan, we got to go on a
Yeah.
fishing trip. Let's go.
Okay,
Do
let's
it.
go on a fishing trip.
Ontario, like let's go
Yeah.
catch brook trout.
You got to
or
go to the
something like that, you know?
Marguerite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mitchie, you
Yes.
got to come to the Marguerite.
Bree's
Gotta come
been
to the
God.
Marguerite.
Bree's been a the Marguerite with Susan even.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm down.
And
I'm
Frankie.
down. Okay. Well, thank you both so much for coming on and taking the time to chat with us. Yeah, take care.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
Thanks,
so
you guys.
much. Thank you so much. It was so good. Actually, wait, quick, really quickly, Susan. I know obviously you're involved in a lot of conservation thing. Anything you're working on that you want to
Well,
highlight?
just to tell you that I recently finished my tenure with Wildlife Habitat Canada, which I was the chair of that organization, which is an organization committed to habitat conservation all over the country. And we got the money from the migratory waterfowl stamp, the duck stamp, and we would collect it, and then we get to give it away to organizations that are doing habitat conservation throughout the country. So go on Wildlife Habitat Canada website, because we've got large grants and we've got small grants. So if you're an organization that wants to do habitat conservation and you need some matching funds, go look at Wildlife Habitat Canada, because it's there. It's exciting and not enough people
That's awesome.
know. Yeah.
Love that.
Thank you.
Amazing. The other
Yeah.
thing we'll do is we'll put links to like all of these like things in the show notes because you guys are doing so much. It's hard to cover everything and like talk about it in an hour. So
Yeah.
go check out the show notes if you want to find links of how you can support the initiatives that Amber and Susan are into. So yeah, but thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, and we're back. Yeah, very fun chat. It was obviously sounded like an epic trip. Alaska, that's one of the things on the top of the list that we've been chatting about for years. We got to get out to Alaska.
Yeah, like the north would be crazy.
I want to spend more time in the north in general. I mean, we're going to be up there in like a week,
Yep.
or 2 weeks.
But even then, when you look at it, I mean, it's
Not
so
Alaska.
north in Ontario. It's so north in Ontario. But then you look at the map and the way the globe is and the country goes. It's like Saskatoon is more north.
I know it's like southern. It's like really southern Canada. And of course, we're talking about a trip we're taking soon to a place called Old Post Lodge, which is northern Ontario. Aldo and I are going to go up there and fish and make some stuff.
The first Hudson's Bay outpost.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm really excited to get a slice of the history here and see what this place is all about. And we've been hearing lots of hype from people, so it's going to be cool. Check out. Anyway, that's going to be a great trip. But yeah, great interview from Amber and Susan. I guess great hearing
Fun
from you
stories.
guys. Yeah, very fun stories. Sound like an amazing trip, and you guys are awesome. Yeah, I'm going Atlantic salmon fishing. Remember in the first half of the show, I mentioned that. I dropped that bomb on you.
Yeah, it was a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, it was a bit of a nuke. I
Where
have
you-
said,
where-
I have mentioned it before though.
What?
Scotland.
Well, I know you're going to Scotland, but you said you're going trout fish, huh?
No, Atlantics. No, I'm going salmon fishing in Scotland.
Would you
Not
get a
trout.
guide? Or like,
Oh,
what's going on? Explain yourself.
So I wanted to fish a couple times. I wanted to fish like Loch Ness. I thought that would have been sick, but it closes like a couple days before we're there. I'm like,
Ah,
dang
shit.
it. Anyways, I hooked up with, I looked for guides in and around the Edinburgh area because we'll be there towards the end of the trip. And I found this fella. Actually, a lot of people we know follow him on Instagram. He's got quite the following. Scotia Fishing.
Okay.
I don't have my phone on me, but anyway, I sent him a message and he's like, "Yeah, let's go." So we're gonna hit the river. We're gonna hit the Tay and fish for salmon. And I probably won't catch one because that's how it goes. But it's just going to be awesome
Don't
to
put
fish.
that energy out there.
I know, but I hope I put that energy out in hopes of being surprised. You know what I mean? If I say, "Oh, I'm going to catch one," then I'm fucking definitely not going to catch one. But
I guess that's true. Yeah.
you know what I mean? But if I kind of like, it's not going to happen, but like, kind of like, think
Well,
it
just
might, but it's not gonna. Knock on wood. It does.
Are you single hands bay?
Spay, double hand spay.
Practice your touch and go casts.
Yeah, single spay is going to be the how she
Those
does. But
those Atlantic salmons do not like snap
They're
tea,
scary.
water
Yeah.
loading stuff.
I think it's just going
Well,
to be
sorry, single spays are water load casts, but you know what I mean, like the big rips,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah,
line
yeah.
rips.
the mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. I think I've always wanted to. It's been a dream forever to fish any of the rivers in Scotland. You know where
Oh,
spay
it's gonna
fishing
be such a
originated from.
dream.
So yeah, just standing in the river is cool
Oh,
enough for me.
you got to bring Mitchell Roberts' flies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then the guide will be like, "No, don't fish those. Fish this," and I'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, I wonder.
I don't know what patterns are working
exactly.
for them.
Like,
There,
I wonder how much crossover there. I mean, Atlantic salmon patterns are kind of just like.
I'll totally be bringing Mitchell's flies, and hey, if I can catch a fish on one of their flies, I mean that would be my first Atlantic too in Scotland on Mitchell Roberts' fly. Come on, forget about it.
Yeah. Well, that would keep the streak alive because my first Marguerite salmon was on a Mitchell Roberts Blue Charm, and Mitchell Roberts was standing beside me.
That's awesome.
When I landed it, so that was
so
cool.
good. Well, we'll see, but I'm stoked. I'm like, fuck, I can't wait. It's gonna be. It's like again,
Dude,
it's like a
awesome. When do you leave again?
Dream. The end of September till October 10th. So I'm gonna be fishing like I think one of the last days, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm be fishing one of the last days of the season, so it's probably not good. But I have no idea. Like I don't know what that's what it's like over there. So we're gonna find out. It's gonna be a learning experience, and maybe we'll even do a little show about it after.
Well, we're definitely gonna do a show about it.
Yeah, we'll have to have this fella on the podcast. My guide, he's pretty dialed. But yeah, like I said, it's just going to be, getting to fish in unique places with lots of history is just an exciting thing. Like, even if you don't catch fish, because you have a day, and it's Atlantic salmon. It's like, okay, well, if it was bass, it's one thing. You can pretty well expect to catch
just
bass.
Hating on bass today.
No, you're going to catch a bass if you go bass fishing. But like Atlantic's notoriously hard to catch, So I'm not. My hopes aren't high for that, but I think that's good to go in with that expectation. But yeah, just like it's
also
a
know
storied place, the Tay River, man. This is like where spay fishing is from. Where it originated. Scotch. It's made from the water of these places. It's just going to be crazy. The history of these places, it's like, geez.
Yeah.
But yeah. Stoked about that. Stay tuned. Yilma's going to be in Scotland like a week before me.
Yeah, I heard.
By
and
himself.
What's really weird is I might be there a week before him.
What the hell is going on?
Well, Nick and I are going to be doing, our pal Nick, of course, who owns Civil Liberties. We might be doing a bar pop up there, but we might also try and sneak in some fishing after.
Do you know where? In Scotland?
Well, we'll be doing the pop up in Edinburgh, but we'll drive and go fish. We're gonna go fishing. We just don't know if we'll be able to salmon fish. We'll definitely go at least trout fishing.
Definitely go salmon fishing, brother.
Well, obviously, but I mean, yeah, we'll see how realistic that is.
Hit up this guide.
Yeah. But also I might not go because we're going to Oregon.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
So yeah. But that's really exciting, Mitch. I'm really stoked for you, man. It's going to be really, 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 really fun.
And then next year I want to do out east. I'd love to fish with Kate Scott if they'll have me out there like in the fall.
It's just so much fun. And then now that you know Susan, and Mitchell, like we got a whole.
I kind of want to just move out. I haven't been there since I was a kid. I kind of just want to move out there right now. I think
I could live in Halifax and be very happy.
Should we just move out there? Like just me and you.
Okay.
Like Steph and Bree can just chill here.
See Susan's place.
Oh, it's probably awesome.
And her friend, she mentioned her friend Susie who caught that brookie. Oh my god, her play. We went there for dinner. Me and Bree and the dog.
It's just heaven. So idyllic.
Oh my god.
Like, could we just go out there and be like painters or something, or like, could someone teach us how to roof or
Oh, like house painters. No, like
I'm just thinking about like what
dude,
work
I'll
could
just
we
bartend
do?
in a pub. I'll just like pour Guinnesses until
I could just do magic tricks. I could be an entertainer. I could just walk around doing magic tricks. I know too. Which doesn't matter because if you just don't do them to the same people twice, then it doesn't matter how many
It's the only two you need, man.
Yeah. Well, this is shaping up. What else? You catch shitloads of bass. We've been bass fishing like crazy. I don't know. I've caught like this month. I've caught like probably hundreds of largemouth bass.
Well, I'm really enjoying
and smallmouth.
I've taken the inflatable kayak out now a couple times. I have to say I'm
Yeah.
really quite impressed with that.
It's a
design.
sick boat, and it's boat brand BOTE.
Yeah,
it's a wicked boat.
No, we're not sponsored. I just bought a thing.
You got a good deal on it too.
Yeah, I got like a floor model. I sent it to David, very good fly fishing's house in Rochester, and I picked it up on my road trip out east actually last year.
Because like I don't know what it is about the world. Well, yeah, I mean like everything's so friggin' expensive, but like pedal drives, just the pedal drive system itself, like the shaft with the pedals from all these companies are like $1,000 for a pedal. Like even the boat one that you have, it's like,
I know.
It's like $1,000 just for the pedals, and then the boat's like another fucking $2,000. I'm like, holy! So you got a smoking deal.
Well, they sell it as a package, and I think this package was on the floor, and like I don't know,
it's awesome.
I don't know, I don't know. And this person, they were just trying to move it, I guess.
No, I love it. It's amazing.
No, it's great. I'm really impressed with the design. It's essentially just a stand-up paddleboard with walls, but
yeah, it's light too, eh? Like you can pick the thing up like over your head, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the sickest part.
Well, and the thing too is it packs down to about 100-liter bag, which
so rad.
is a pretty big bag. But if you think of it in terms of a canoe pack, like it means I can carry this. Like I can bushwhack this thing in. You know, maybe not with the pedal drive. Well, or I guess it depends on how much I want to carry. But you know, maybe with the pedal drive,
if you're like really bushwhacking, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and but at the very least, just whack in with a, and it's great, man, because you can stand up on it, so you get that vantage point. You know,
yeah,
you can like and it's easier for casting. Frankie seems to like it. That's fun. And then I'm pretty impressed. But yeah, in general,
pedal drive.
I've been enjoying
a pedal drive system you could lift above your head. You know, like that's so sick. Because like I love my kayak, but like it's heavy as shit. You know, it's like not an easy thing to like.
Kayak's like
around.
A dock.
It's huge, dude. It's just so cumbersome, and then which is annoying. But it's sick. I love it. But like I see yours, I'm like fucking lift the thing up and just throw it in the water. Like fuck, that's so rad.
I mean, yeah, for me it makes the most sense because of my apartment. I can just store it pretty easily. You know,
that's sick.
Whereas,
too.
Like your kayak, you have a whole ass.
I just leave it in the wood. I just leave it there, and I don't even bother like taking it around because it'd be a bitch to like store here. I don't even know where I'd put it.
For sure.
It's huge. For sure. But man, I put a lot of hours in on that this month, which I'm really happy
that's great.
About.
Yeah, you've been killing it.
So fun. I installed the fish finder on there. I got the Garmin Striker hooked up. I got a really sick little install there. If anyone's interested in installing a fish finder or a kayak, hit me up because I had a good idea that I got from someone on YouTube. Some idea. I got the trolling motor on there, so we're just zipping around fishing. Sick. It's friggin' sick.
That's friggin' sick.
Yeah, no, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a fun, I think, with our summers getting so hot and being a little bit of proactive, spending a little bit of money to get yourself on the water. Like I don't want to buy a fucking bass boat. I have nowhere to put it. 2, even if I had somewhere to put it, oh my God, and then, so it's just like, it's nice being able to.
You don't want to get one of those 20-year financing plans, eh? Pass it on down to the kids.
I'll pass it down to Frankie when I'm. Yeah. Dog's just like, I don't know how to make these payments. I'm just a baby.
The banks, yeah. Anyway,
but yeah, no, it's been fun exploring. I want to explore more. We've got, we're lucky to be going up north next month. But then when I'm back, it'll be like 2 weeks of lily pad pounding.
Yeah, well, stay tuned because we'll be posting stuff from Old Post Lodge. Obviously, we'll do a podcast on that soon. Probably come out at the end of August. And of course, we're going to go to Pennsylvania to go trout fishing. And that's locked in. That's locked in. Thanks, Amber and Susan, for coming on the show. It was awesome hearing about the Lodge at 58 North. And thanks everybody for listening to another episode of So Fly Fishing. And that's it for me, Mitch. Aldo.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Of course, you can find all our stuff at sofly.ca. I guess we say this in the
Yep.
right.
And here it is.
Bye.
Take care. Take care.
Fuck.